Hello world, Stephen Michael Zach here, and just a few days ago we reviewed the Godox FH-50R. Now, due to weather, both the lantern and the softbox had not arrived yet, so we have them today. It'll cost this much at the time of the recording of the video, and I did buy these with my own money, so these are going to be my own brutal and honest opinions as always. So let's take a look at what comes inside the bags. My own brutal and honest opinions as always. This is new to me. Okay, so let's take a look at the Space Lantern first. Now, I did notice that the dye is kind of bleeding, so this is kind of red instead of white. So take that as you will. It is one of these just cheap nylon cases. You have a little strap here, which seems to be sewn on fairly well. Then when you pull on the Velcro here, it seems like the Velcro is not sewn on very well, just kind of sort of tacked on well enough, but I have a feeling that over time this is going to come up. And again, there's already threads all over this, so not great quality there. Then we flip open the softbox, and again, it seems to be like the Falconized Space Lanterns. Little piece of Velcro there. It pops open, the rod's already in, and you've got all your Velcros to Velcro it to your light. So let's go ahead and set this up. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to tilt this down, and you're going to make sure that the two splits, this is for the bottom here. So we're just going to go around here like so, underneath. And I'm going to go ahead and attach the bottoms to the back like so. Very, very simple to do this. It would probably be better if I just put this on a light stand, probably be a lot easier. And there you go. They have it. Very quick to do, very simple. And then we'll bring this back up. And there is your lantern right there. So let's go ahead and let's put this up on a stand above me. And let's take a look at what it looks like. Okay, so here we are at 100% power at 3900 Kelvin, and this thing is massively heroing. Let me go ahead and turn this down a bit so we can take a look at it. But really, really nice, very, very, very nice spread of light. Really love this for if I want to do, tabletop photography or any kind of videography that's tabletop. This would work very well, but let me go turn that down. And now we are at 25%, and I have to tell you, this thing is pretty amazing. If I had any more space to go up, I would. Unfortunately, there's a camera right there. But this is working very, very, very well. I could definitely see this for a top-down scene if you're doing like a criminal, kind of like an interrogation room kind of thing, or if you're doing like a small dinner party between two people. This would definitely work. Really, really nice. I would probably try to use some cinefoil to make a skirt to kind of, make sure that it's not spreading everywhere, but it is doing a really fantastic job. And just for giggles, this is 100%. So as you can see, this thing massively heroes. It is very, very bright, and the lantern works very, very well. And then to remove this, all you have to do is basically just pull off the Velcro really quickly, and there you go. And then to collapse it, all you have to do is just squeeze these together and make sure everything is inside here. Make sure all the edges are in here like so. And there's a little bit of Velcro right there. And then you can kind of just tuck it away, slide it into the bag like so, close it, and you're off. Okay, so let's take a look at the softbox. And again, it's made out of the same case material. You get yourself a little handle. It's a little bit of a different handle. It's more of a nylon handle here. And again, you've got a little bit better Velcro, but again, this is probably going to wear out during over time. But inside you get diffusion cloth, you get your grid, and you get your softbox. Now, the softbox does detach, and it does attach completely on one side here. So I would do that first, like so. And then let's attach it to the light. And I generally like to kind of take your two staves here. And I kind of like to do this. I like to kind of bend everything out. And I like to do this out on a table. You can do it when it's set up. But I'll just go ahead and lock it in there. And lock in the ends here. Like so. And this sets up fairly quickly as well. There is a little bit of bend in my light now. There we go. And I'll go around the front and just push that in. And there you go, Bob's your uncle. It looks pretty good. That does not suck at all. So there we go, the softbox is on. Okay, let's take a look at the cloth here. And it feels pretty cheap, pretty much what you would get with Falcon Eyes stuff. It feels kind of the same. Let's go ahead and we'll just kind of, it does guide you as to where to put the corners, which I like. And we'll go ahead and try to figure out if this is actually going to physically reach the corners. So there we go. And this sort of kind of reaches the corners like that. And then let's bring in that and make sure that this is nice and secure here. And again, it is a bit of a tight squeeze, almost like this isn't, again, like this isn't long enough, which is always a thing, always a point of contention with me when they don't make their diffusions long enough. There are gaping holes in it. All right, so not bad. It is a very, 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 very tight fit. And there are a few light leakage holes because this is not big enough for the softbox. So you'll have to kind of squeeze in the corners here like so to get it completely in. Again, it's not ideal and it's not my favorite. There are gaping holes in here though. So there you go. Let's take a look at the softbox. Okay, so here we are at 100% power. That is probably about 5 to 6 feet away from me on a light stand. And this thing is massively heroing as a key light. Let's go ahead and turn this down. So here we are at 50%, and we are definitely getting still a strong enough light to use as a key light. Now let's go ahead and let me just kind of use a little fill and bounce there. And you can see that bounces in very, very nicely. That works very, very well for a fill, or if you want to underfill yourself, that works too. So there you go, that's what it looks like. So already this thing is super powerful with the diffusion on. Okay, here we are at 25%, 3900 Kelvin. I am about, 5 to 6 feet away. Let's get a reading there. Let's go ahead and do that one more time. And we are at 3900 Kelvin. We are spot on. As you can see from the readings here, it is perfect color. We don't need any kind of correction gel. We are off by a delta V of negative 0.0011, which is pretty good. And you're getting a TLCI of 98. So this thing really does work well. And then keep in mind, yes, this light does have plus minus green, so you can match it to other lights. It goes up to net plus and net and minus 50. So really, really nice. This is with the grid cloth on. Now let's try it with the included grid. Okay, so let's take a look at the grid. Now, I do like the fact that it does Velcro to itself and roll up. It rolls up very nicely. There are definite little, what looks like little ends here to let you know where things go. We're going to put that down at the bottom here. And let's go ahead and let's squeeze this on. So, no, there's no real corners to let you know how this goes on. You just kind of have to sort of open it up and find the corners yourself here. But there we go. That seems to be okay there. And I always like to keep the tag at the bottom. And let's go ahead and do that. And let's make sure that is all cinched up like so. And make sure that is attached. And let's give it the test. And as you can see, it is concaving a little bit. And that is something that I always hate when you put a grid on. The fact, even with sometimes with the diffusion, but here it's just with the grid, that it's actually pulling in on the sides, so creating less space. So that is not ideal, but that is what is happening, unfortunately, because this is... Unfortunately, this grid again seems to be a little too small, just like the diffusion. It seems like they didn't cut it large enough. Here we are at 100% power with the grid, and this is what it looks like. Let's go ahead and do a little bounce in a little light here. That looks pretty good. You can do your underlight, of course, and let's go ahead and take a little bit of a reading here. And again, we are spot on. We lost a little bit of the delta UV, but everything looks pretty normal here. So pretty good at 3900 Kelvin. Now let's tune this down to 50%. And here we are at 50% with the grid on. So let's talk pros and cons, and let's start off with the bags. These are very cheaply made. They are very inexpensive. Some of them are they already have little strands peeling. The Velcro is slightly better on the softbox than it is on the Space Lantern. With the Space Lantern, this Velcro is not going to last. This is going to rip off immediately. I would probably just find something else to throw these into because they are not quality at all. Again, if you keep them in the case, and the case is quite big here. So yeah, you can squeeze this in with the light, put everything in here, you should be fine. So I would keep these, and I would just always put them back in the case because that is going to be how you keep the longevity. But I don't think they're going to last a long time. You might want to find something else, like a laptop sleeve, like a big laptop sleeve or something else to slide these into that you could also slide into the bag. With that said, let's talk about the softbox. And while I like the construction of the grid, it is sewn together, which is always nice to see. I hate when it's just kind of fed through. Those tend to rip and break really quickly. I will say that I do wish both the diffusion and the grid actually fit the box. They seem to be cut a little too tightly. And what ends up happening is when you put the grid in, you end up getting this concaveness, which is actually squishing your light. So you're not getting the full beam angle. So that is just something to be aware of. These are a little bit tight, and I will say that these don't necessarily, I wish these were just a little bit smaller. They don't necessarily pull in the beam angle that much. They don't reduce as much as I would like them. These seem a little bit too big. If they were a little bit smaller, a little bit tighter, I think you get a little bit tighter of a feel. But I put up the example before, so you can kind of judge for yourself. But I definitely think that the grid's just okay. It's fine. It does its job, but it's okay. It's not great. And another negative is there are no corners like there are on the grid cloth, so you really don't know. I mean, I guess you've got a tag at the bottom, so I guess that goes in one corner, but you really don't know exactly where things go. I will say this does roll up a lot nicer than other grids, but there you go, there you have it. And again, the grid cloth, it just feels like it isn't large enough. If there are bits and holes all around it, it'll do the job, but it just feels like it's not. And again, you're getting that concaveness, not so much as when you put on the grid, but you're still getting a little concaveness there. So it could be better. And I think this is half grid cloth, it looks like. Might be half or quarter. Let's take a look at it. Yeah, I think it is probably half. And it is a grid cloth. And let's talk about the softbox. Softbox actually feels really well made. I do like the fact that it unhooks in one corner, and it makes it that much easier for you to just go ahead and pull out your light. Now, we'll say that because the light has wire in it, the tendency of this is to sort of kind of pop in, and that could be a problem. So you just have to make sure that when you have this light that you push out and make sure that the back is out. Otherwise, again, it's bending and curving. Is probably something that will nothing that will affect what you're doing, but it's just going to always bend backwards. You want to make sure when it's a softbox that it's like that. It's straight on, so you're not getting any kind of curved light. Not really going to be a deal breaker. Not really going to affect you. It's just something I've noticed is that it always seems to go back into this position. And the softbox seems very well made. I love the fact that it folds up very nicely. It works very, very, very well. So no problems there. Now let's talk pros and cons about the Space Lantern. And I have no cons about the Space Lantern, except for the fact that it does not come with a skirt. Again, you could take some cinefoil or some duvetine to make your own skirt around it, but I think that is seriously missing from this is some Velcro on the outside of the Space Lantern and a skirt so you can actually block off, because this thing, moving on to the pros, this thing heroes like you would not believe. I really do like the Space Lantern. I like the fact that it's not like the Falcon Eyes where you have to hold on to those poles, and if you lose those little plastic poles that they break, you're out of luck or you have to order a new one. This one, everything's already stitched in, it's already looped in, it's got a little Velcro there, it pops right open, it's easy to close. These are, again, these feel more significant than the falconized ones. These feel like there's metal, I think it's metal, plastic coated metal. So really, really nice. I think this looks fantastic if you want to hang it above you for product photography or do an interrogation scene, or just want to do an intimate dinner scene. This thing is going to really work very well for you. Again, I just wish that they added Velcro here on the sides and it came with a skirt so that you could skirt that off. So there you go. There you have it. So that is the softbox and the space lantern. And at the end of the day, would I buy both? I would still get the softbox, but I just don't think that with the fact that it kind of concaves the sides in and the grid doesn't really do much to reduce the beam or cut down the angle. It works fine. It's manageable. If you're going to use this for photography or use it as like a key light for a small intimate scene, it'll get the job done. But I really do love the space lantern, the lantern here. I really think this is fantastic. There's a lot you could do with this. I just think that, like I said, it's missing a skirt. Again, something you can add yourself or do yourself. So in a DIY project, so nothing that you can't come up with a solution. So that's it. Those are my thoughts, but I want to know yours. So leave your questions and comments in the notes below. Also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and don't forget to mash the bell button to be notified when we drop a brand new video. And feel free to use the links below as it helps out the channel. I'm Stephen Michael Zach, and these are new to me.